Welcome back to RBD Block Challenge. I'm Cindy Cloward, and today we are finishing our quilt. You've done all the hard work. 16 sampler blocks, all different. Now it's time to put them together. Now look at the quilts behind me. This is our batik option. We created lots of wide open space for your long arm quilter to really go to town on the quilting. Isn't that beautiful? But if you don't want a custom option, we're also highlighting our solid version with an edge-to-edge quilting. That is not custom, and it still looks really beautiful. I love both of these quilts. So whatever you choose to sew and create, just decide if you want to spend a little extra money on the white space. I think it's worth it. Or you can go with the edge-to-edge quilting as well, and it still looks lovely. These would make a really nice wall hanging, an oversized kind of wall hanging, or it can be just a nice lap size quilt. Very beautiful. It would look great in a bedroom too, as an accent quilt in a bedroom. So let's get started on how to finish your quilt. So the first thing you're going to need to do is download the pattern from the Riley Blake Designs website. Again, it's called RBD Block Challenge Finishing. Shows you the complete layout. And I have to tell you where we got the inspiration for this layout. At Garden of Quilts last year, there was a beautiful quilt in the gardens that our design director saw, and she loved the layout. There was sampler blocks, and they created in this style. And so she did a little research and found that the layout option was from a book called Sister Sampler Quilts, designed by Anne Marie Cheney. And she contacted Anne Marie and said, can we use your layout that you featured in the book for this quilt? And she was happy to let us do that. So that's where our inspiration comes, and we just think it's a really beautiful option for this particular quilt. It's so bright, beautiful, and fun. So you can see that it's a really easy assembly. There is no sashing in between. There is no borders. There's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 strips of fabric in varying lengths. So all the details are in the pattern, but I've already partially sewn the quilt top. This is going to take you no time at all, so I did want to show you. The bottom of the quilt, again, you can choose whatever layout you want to do. If you want to mix the blocks up, if you want to move them across the quilt different ways, it's fine. It's your quilt. You can do whatever you'd like. This is how our layout looks. We have 4 blocks on the bottom with a small solid ending. Then we go to 3, and then we go to 2. And then I'm going to show you the top portion. So it just kind of converges into, well, opens up in the middle. Then we have 3 on top. Then 2, and now we're going to go to 1 on both sides. So this is what I'm going to sew now. I'm going to sew 1 here, 1 on this side, and then there's going to be the white fabric solid in the middle. So we've got our blocks, and the one thing that that I should mention is they should all be squared up, so they should be the same size. If by chance you have blocks that are not as big or are maybe too small, just give them a little tug. They should be very close. And then just when you are sewing them together with your, well, it doesn't matter when you're sewing a strip, but when you're sewing the next section on, you can just give them a little tug and make sure they line up, and you can nest these seams here at these intersections. So then you make sure that they're all lined up. So I'm going to sew this quilt. Let me grab my pins over here. And we only have 4 seams left. So I'm going to sew this quilt block on this side. I'm going to sew. So I am going to pin them to make sure they line up. Now there's a lot of points on the edges. So that's the other thing. When you are sewing your quilt blocks together, especially if you've got white on the bottom, I would sew the quilt block on the top so you can make sure you're not cutting off your points. And then I'm going to put this one over here. This one's my block. The last one we worked on. I'm going to pin top and bottom. Let's take it to the machine and sew. Again, a reminder, I'm going to sew right here so I don't cut off my point right there. I'll be a stitch or two just on the other side of that point. Okay, one more block. So I'm going to take it to my pressing station. Oh, that's looking good. Such a fun layout. When you've done so much hard work, it's nice to just have an easy layout to finish your quilt. Okay, now that that is opened up, I am going to give it a quick press in the center. That'll help us. I do this for borders, but sometimes it's nice to do that on long strips. And then the side that I'm going to, so I'm going to attach the top to this middle section. I'm going to give a press too. So we have the middle lined up. Okay, so just look at your layout. Again, the layout goes like this. If you flipped it the wrong way, it'll be fine. It will be fine. So that goes there. We're flipping that over like that. I'm going to line up that center strip. Let's pull out our pins. I'm going to line that outside. Let me line this outside. And then I'm going to go back to where this block intersects, right here. And this quilt block, I'm going to nest those seams. So right like that. Let's just nest those seams. There's only one quilt block on this side, on this end. So we only have one. So you kind of tug a little bit, make sure they line up. I'm going to pin in the middle there. And then I go to over here, line that up. Okay, let's just pin in the middle. Got a longer area here. I'm going to pin here. This you are welcome to pin as much as you'd like. And then when I'm going to take to the machine and sew, and you're going to sew with the, well, you choose the side that has the most quilt blocks, and it's about the same. That would be the side up. But you can also choose the side that has the most points and put it side up when you're sewing so you don't cut off your points. And I think there's more points on this side, so I'm going to flip it over. And you just have to be careful because there's a lot of seams, and when this block is on the bottom, you can stretch it and make it outgrow the top fabric. So just be careful not to stretch your fabric too much. And then be careful, you can see a little bit to find your points that you're not going to be sewing into your points when you do have the block on the bottom side. So let's go sew this seam. All right, let's take it to our pressing station. Give it a good press, set those seams a little bit. All right, let's open it up. Looking good. This is what I want to see right here. That point is right there. It's not cut off. And that seam. Oh, let's bring this around. Okay, take a look. It's upside down. Okay, we have one more seam. So this bottom section is going to meet with the top, and I'm going to take a look. That looks right. And we're going to just flip it over. I am going to fold this in half. Find that center. There we go. So we got the center there. And then we've got the center here. Let's flip it over. And go right sides together, line up that center mark, just like we did before. And align that outside edge. And like we did before, we're going to nest our seams. This one block, it's the only block we have to nest our seams on. Might as well grab the bird pin, give a quick nest, and our seam right there. Then you're going to pull it. If it doesn't want to line up, just give it a little tug like that. Give it a little stretch. And then you might have to give a little tug when you are sewing it so you don't get any. Okay, I gotta try that again. That one needs a little tug when I take it through the machine, so it'll all line up. Okay, very good. And then we'll do this outside. Okay, let's take it to the machine and sew. All right, let's take it to our pressing station. Take off my glasses for this. We'll set our seams and then we'll open it up for the big reveal, although you've already seen the quilt. Okay. There we go. This is a quick press. Slip along here. And the quilt top is finished. I love how this turned out. I didn't mind making it a second time. If you sewed along with us, congratulations. There was a lot of tricky blocks in there, but didn't it come together so beautifully? So thank you again for following along and sewing along with us.